Please let this one be good. Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we're here with my blind reaction to Zatoichi on the Road, the next movie in our Zatoichi week marathon, I guess you could call it. So this has been a mixed week so far. Cause on Monday we had what I consider to be my favorite Zatoichi movie so far. But then yesterday on Tuesday, we had literally the opposite with my least favorite. And it's just like it gave me massive whiplash. I'm not even kidding you when I say that, like, it really threw me off yesterday by how much I wasn't enjoying that movie. And I really, really hope that this one turns it around. Because, like I said before, like I said last time, I think that the previous movie was just poorly made, poorly directed, just poorly written and handled. And it's not the actors, like the actors were fine and everything. The style was fine, even the action was good. But it definitely comes down to as well the characterization that Zatoichi had in this one. In the last movie, they made him feel very unlike he's felt in the others. See, we had done two Zatoichi movies prior to watching these movies this week. Then on Monday was the third one, and the bad one yesterday was the fourth one. So there were three Zatoichi movies, all of which I considered to be good. The third one I considered great. That came before the fourth one, and so it's like I had gotten a feeling for what Zatoichi's character was like by this point. And the fourth one just completely threw that all away. Like, I talked about it last time, but they barely touched on the masseuse stuff, which is an important aspect of his character. Because the fact is, Zatoichi is a masseuse who used to be Yakuza. But in this movie, he's proclaiming himself as Yakuza, and the masseuse thing is almost never brought up. And he never actually, like, takes active part in massaging anyone or doing anything with that. And on top of that, his personality is much more aggressive and confrontational and kind of mean. He gives into his emotions way too easily, and he's just kind of a dick. And that's not how Zatoichi is in the first three movies at all. And I talked about how, like, this would make sense if this were a prequel, because it'd be like, oh, this is how Zatoichi used to be, and this could, like, explain how he got to the point where he is now. But again, as I said last time, there was not really any evidence I could find to support the idea that it was a prequel. So, I can't really officially consider it one. And then you have to take into account the fact that if this is supposed to be like a direct follow-up to the previous movie, and you're trying to like paint the idea that, oh, he's like this now because of the tragedy that happened in the third film. It's like that doesn't work either. Like, yeah, I can understand he would be like downtrodden and depressed maybe, but he would not become an asshole. he would not, and his turn wouldn't be this drastic in this kind of direction. It feels completely out of place for his character. It feels wrong. It doesn't feel natural. It doesn't feel believable. It just doesn't seem like this is how things would have gone down. And I'm just annoyed by it. Plus, there's also the issue of like, the plot lines being very muddled in that movie, in Zatoichi the Fugitive, and like really deeply trying to make you care about this character who there's no reason to care about because they're not really a character. They're a plot device. That Kisuke guy who tries to attack Zatoichi at the beginning for his bounty. It's like it really tries to make you care about him and think like, oh, his death is this hugely tragic thing, but it does literally nothing to make Kisuke into any kind of character. He's a plot device to push the movie forward and to put Zatoichi in the right place for the rest of the movie to happen. That's all he is. So it's like, why the fuck would I give a shit about this character? I have no reason to. It's just kind of annoying, you know? It's just admittedly kind of annoying when this movie series that I've really been enjoying does have this, bad movie, this bad part. And don't get me wrong, I acknowledged even last time that it's like, yeah, this movie or this series has like what, 20 something films in it? Almost 30? It's going to have a couple bad ones, at least. Probably more than a couple. That's just reasonable. But it's just it might be, like I said last time, it might be because it came after what was my favorite so far, and that it was such a massive drop off. That's probably what caused my issues with it more than anything. Because the drop off was so massive. It was like, again, going from the best so far to the worst so far, it's like, it just hurts to experience that. And it's the only movie I would say it so far in this series. It's the only one I would call a bad movie too, because again, even outside of the stuff related to just comparing it to the other films, it's just not a good film. It's not a good movie. It's poorly made. Even outside of like, his personality doesn't mesh with the other films and stuff. It's not a good, well made film either. But yeah, it's like it was bound to happen, so I'm not like the most upset. It's just, again, because it came after my favorite so far, it was just hard to watch. Not to mention, it was just kind of boring at times. So let's hope this next one helps out. So this one, like I said, is called Zatoichi on the Road. So, following the last one, in which he got a bounty on his head and everything, I assume this is going to continue from that, because I'm assuming it's in chronological order. I'm assuming each movie follows after the last and all. So, by that logic, him being on the road and traveling and whatnot, and maybe not having like a place to stay currently, could be because of him having this bounty. Him not really being able to find a place to stay. Now, with a title like this, I kind of want it to break the traditional style of the film. What's the word? Format, I guess you could say. There's a specific word and I just can't think of it. But you know how these films normally are. I mentioned this last time too, but it's like they all have this like format to them, where it's like, Zatoichi arrives in this village or whatnot, village or town. He meets the people there. He befriends the people there. He meets a rival who's going to be the final battle for him. He has to deal with Yakuza bullshit. It's like it's all the same thing. And the appeal of these movies comes from like the emotional core, Zatoichi's character and his kindness and gentleness and everything, his desire to not fight. The specific antagonist and what their motivations are and how that conflicts with Ichi, stuff like that. That's how it differentiates itself enough, but the general format, the general style of it is the same each time. I kind of want that to change up for a lot of reasons because I feel like 20 something movies with the same format to it would get really stale eventually. And with this one being Zatoichi on the road, I think this could easily change that. I kind of feel like it might be an interesting idea if, again, we're following up with the bounty thing. What if he's traveling between a couple different locations in this? He doesn't stay in any specific location the entire time like he usually does in these films. Maybe there's 2 or 3 locations that he goes between during the course of the movie. And every time he has to leave each of the locations because someone is following him, someone is hunting him down for the bounty, and and Ichi leaves each of the locations because he doesn't want to put the people there in danger. Eventually, he ends up having to confront this guy because it's just becoming too tiresome and troublesome to deal with that over and over again. And that could lead into the final fight that these movies are known for. It keeps a formula. Formula is what I was thinking. How these movies are pretty formulaic. That's what I was trying to think of. It keeps the formula though. This concept, this idea, it keeps the style of the formula, the general idea of it, while also changing enough to make it more unique and interesting and different. That's kind of what I want to see from this franchise. It's like, yeah, you can keep the general idea of the formula the same, but change it up enough, tweak it little bits here and there to make it unique and to make it evolve as it goes along. I think that would be the best case scenario. Um, but we'll see. We'll see how it's done. I have a lot of hope for this series of films. I have a lot of faith in it. It's just something I really, really am rooting for, I guess you could say. So, all of that being said, we are going to get on with this. I know these pre thoughts have been pretty long, but I just wanted to touch on all of this. Um, just to remind you all of why the last one just did not work for me, as well as kind of go over my hopes for this now that we have seen a bad one. And again, I just want to make it clear I don't blame like the actors or whatnot for the last movie. It's like they do the best with the script they're given. It's just the script was bad. But that being said, like I said, we're going to get this started. So before we do, I do want to remind you all real quick that we have a plethora of awesome series reactions to check out. Between Monday and Friday, we have just an awesome array of series reactions. And on Monday specifically, we have YouTube, or at least YouTube adjacent reactions. Shorts, specials, miniseries that just don't have a lot of episodes, or surprise, surprise, YouTube videos. Anything that doesn't quite fit into a normal series or movie reaction goes in this slot. And speaking of movie reactions, outside of specialty weeks like this, our normal weeks have movie reactions every Saturday and Sunday. I pre-record the reactions during the week, but upload them on the weekend so that every day has some sort of reaction content going on for it. Obviously, this week is different because we're having 5 movie reactions, 5 days, Monday through Friday, none on the weekend. So, a different situation. But we also have a couple Let's Plays we are currently going through. We have Horizon Forbidden West every other day. That's right, every other day. It's a different kind of schedule than certain things, but you saw one, for example, yesterday on Tuesday. You're going to see one tomorrow on Thursday, and then there's going to be Saturday and Monday, and so on and so forth like that, every other day. We're We're also playing through Poppy Playtime. Those will be put up on Saturdays. And while we're only doing Chapter 1, because that's all that's on PS5 currently, I am bad enough with puzzles with these kind of games to where I had enough footage to cut it up into a few parts. So we are able to at least have a few weeks of Poppy Playtime on the channel, again, on Saturdays. That being said, though, thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. And let's get on with Zatoichi on the road. So, when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction because, yes, we do redirect all reactions on this channel. I understand. You don't want to have to click all these extra links. You don't want to have to do all this extra work just to get to the reaction. Hell, you'd rather it be right here on this video. Right here on YouTube. That would be ideal, right? Well, it would be ideal. The problem is YouTube's copyright system is shit. And because of that, it's kind of dangerous to put stuff on here, even if it's chopped up. It can still lead to stuff like copyright strikes or even having your channel taken down. And I've dealt with both of those kind of things before. I don't want to deal with them again. They suck. It's terrible. It's just a bad overall situation. So to deal with that, I push all reactions off to another site. It just makes it easier, it makes it safer, and makes sure that the channel and these reactions keep going. On the other plus side, you also have to take into account that it's only one link. You just go down in the description below, click the one link, it takes you to the video. That's all you need to do. No extra work outside of that. And you all get the full unedited reaction completely free. Yeah, every single one of you. You get the full, unedited, uncut reaction completely free. The only exception is if, like, something interrupts me while I'm recording, and then it's like, oh, I have to, like, cut it here just to deal with that. But, like, you'll still get to see the entire reaction to the entire movie or series or whatever else. This goes for any video reaction I have on the channel. So, yeah, and I mean completely free, by the way. You don't have to pay anything. You don't even have to subscribe to a Patreon. And on top of that, you don't even have to sync up your own copy, like a lot of channels do. And I know that a lot of channels do this for completely valid reasons. Whether it be because of monetization or copyright or whatever. But I do kind of pride myself in being a channel that can give this to you just completely free. All of it's right in that video when you click the link. It's all right there. Again, you don't have to sync up your own copy. It's just in there. So I think that's pretty awesome. It's completely understandable why most reaction channels can't do that, but I still love that I can give that to you. And after you watch the reaction, come back here to the redirect and resume play, because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts, and will not only contain spoilers to the movie, but will also contain just my thoughts on it, my thoughts on how it connects to the previous movies and the rest of this series, as well as maybe some stuff related to the channel. You never know. It's always worth checking out, just to be safe. So, all of that being said, once again, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. It's like night and day. It was like night and day before with New Tale Zatoichi and Zatoichi the Fugitive, but now it's again the same thing, night and day between Fugitive and On the Road. This movie was great. Like, I would say this is probably my second favorite after New Tale. Because it changed up the formula a little bit, like I was hoping it would, and kind of in the same way I was hoping it would. Like I mentioned, like, based on the title, I was hoping that, okay, Zatoichi would be traveling from place to place. And once we met Omitsu and everything during the reaction, I'm thinking, like, okay, this is how it's going to happen. He's going to be traveling from place to place because of her to try and get her home and everything. And that's what happened. He never stays in the same location. We keep going between a few different locations. And it even cut back on the rival thing. This was, I think, more like the first one, because I think in the first one there was just two rival gangs, and that Zatoichi kind of got mixed up in between them. And that's kind of what happened here too. Except him getting mixed up with them was also tied to Omitsu, who also wasn't quite a love interest in this one. Like there was like maybe a little teasing towards that idea, but it never actually went anywhere with it. She was never meant to be a love interest to him. Um, Neither was Ohisa for that matter. So it also kind of cut back on the entire how most of these movies so far have had a character who is a love interest to him. Instead, it's just, a young girl who wants to get home who he's trying to help do so. And by cutting back on some of the tropes that these movies have been, perpetuating as part of their formula, it allows it to feel fresher again. It allows it to feel newer. I mentioned during the reaction that he was a little more aggressive in this than in the first three movies, but nowhere near to the level as the fourth. And his aggressiveness in this was definitely more akin to protectiveness, whether he was protecting his own honor when people were, being shitty towards him, or when he was protecting someone else. He only got aggressive basically as a defensive maneuver. And that's more of what I would like to see from him, because he will fight if he's defending himself. He's not going to let himself be attacked. But he's not like going to go out of his way to be the aggressor like we saw in the last movie. He just felt so needlessly intense in Zatoichi the Fugitive that I really appreciate more what they did here. It felt like a better balance, I guess you could say. It's like, okay, you want to make him a little more like maybe done with this kind of shit. Okay, that's fine. But you have to make it so it doesn't compromise his character, compromise his morals and his ethics, his beliefs, his ideals. And it's just like you have the last one where he's constantly like calling himself a Yakuza and constantly like just being so intense and aggressive about things. And it felt so out of character for him. So we come to this one, and this one feels more like a natural progression. Like, yeah, he's a little more done with this shit because he's gone through so much, but he's still the nice, kind, joking masseur that we came to love. And we even get to see the masseur stuff come back into play, which we didn't see in the last movie. It was mentioned like once, maybe twice, but we didn't get to see it, and now we get to see it again. And we even get to see him, like, being very observant and defending himself while the guy he's massaging is, like, trying to trick him and trying to attack him. It's well done. It's well done. And I feel like the last movie, like I said, if the last movie were a prequel, it would kind of fix a lot of the problems, but there's no evidence that it is, and it's kind of implied to not be one from everything that I could find. And that was the biggest issue I had with it. It's like, okay, if you're going to have this be a prequel, then Zatoichi's attitude and his actions and all, his anger makes sense. But if this is like supposed to take place sequentially after the third film, it is so out of place. It makes no sense for how he should be reacting to things at the moment. It felt wrong. And so this one, going back to how it had been before, is so much better. And I'm wondering what people thought of like the last movie. I haven't checked out reviews or anything, so I don't know. I'm wondering if if it's a popular or unpopular opinion that it was not good. Um, I genuinely don't know. Um, all I saw about it was that the sword fight at the end was like praised, which it's like sure, I even admitted the action in that movie was great. There is no issue with that. But it's like I don't know what people actually thought of the film as a whole. I just know that I didn't like it. But this one is so much better. The side characters are great. The villains are great. There's no specific rival. Again, it's more of like these two opposing sides that Zatoichi's just getting caught up in through these various places he stops at and whatnot, and these various people he meets. There's no specific rival. In fact, you could the final battle is him just wiping out three assholes. It's not even really a battle per se. He has more trouble with the crowds of people, of course, but that's because he's facing like a crowd of people at a time. It's like that's not really the same thing as like having him face like this skilled samurai or something, um, or his master even. It's like that's a very different kind of fight than fighting a crowd of random people who are just going to be fodder. Let's be honest. And you would think that the final battle with the three enemies would have been more exciting, but it really wasn't because it was so easy to take them down. But that's not what it was about. It was about him, like, just, basically saying, you all suck. Fuck all of you. I'm going to rid the world of your filth now. And you know what? I can dig that. I can dig that it's done a little differently. I like at the end too that Ohisa ended up turning around and becoming a good guy. It wasn't like a full redemption arc kind of thing. It was just her like basically forgetting about her past issues with Ichi and just kind of like helping out because she saw that what they were doing to Omitsu, especially in regards to using her as part of this war as a tool, basically. She saw that as really fucked up. Like, as much as she wanted her revenge on Ichi, it's like, she's not that bad. And so I like that she, in the end, helped protect Amitsu and helped get her back to Ichi for safety before, this other kid helped her escape and presumably get back home. We never actually got a full conclusion on that, but presumably she did get back home afterwards. Um, I don't like I said. I think I like the third movie, Return or New Tale of Zatoichi. I think I still like that better. That was just like a new standard for these films. Even with the first two being good, the third one was just a whole new level of good. And it's like this one was just really good, and I really enjoyed it a lot. The pacing, by the way, the pacing, directing, all those issues I also had with the last film, all fixed here. So I had no issues with that stuff either. Um, but it's like this was just so much better. And yeah, I think I just like it just a little bit less than the third one. But yeah, this was really good. This was definitely a step back up in the right direction. And I'm so happy that did seem to go this way. I do genuinely wonder though, because it was such a like drastic, notable change with Zatoichi the Fugitive, with how he was portrayed. I wonder if like the crowds, even like in Japan back in the '60s when this came out, I wonder if they complained about the way he was portrayed in that, and that's why they like returned back to how he was in the first three films with this one. Because again, that film just felt so out of place. Like just going back and like thinking about it, even after watching this one, it's just like it felt so out of place compared to the first three and now the fifth movie. And I wonder if they just were trying to do something different and the crowds just didn't like that, so they kind of reverted back to more of what they were doing in the first three. Which that can sometimes happen. That can sometimes happen. So, the next movie in the series, which will be tomorrow, Thursday, is Zatoichi and the Chest of Gold. So this one has an interesting title, and it definitely makes me think. But I'll talk more about that when we get to that tomorrow. But yeah, that's going to be the next one for tomorrow. So look forward to that. But for the time being, I do want to, just before we close this off, briefly remind you that we have a lot of great content to check out on the channel. Between Monday and Friday, we have a plethora of awesome series reactions. And on Monday specifically, we have YouTube, or at least YouTube adjacent reactions. Anything that doesn't quite fit into a normal series or movie reaction goes in this slot. We also have movie reactions normally every Saturday and Sunday. I know this week we're doing something special with the Zatoichi week. 5 movies, 5 days between Monday and Friday. No movies this weekend, but starting next week again, and just as of our normal schedule, we have the movies come up every Saturday and Sunday. And I pre-record them during the week and upload them on the weekend. It makes it easier for me, plus it allows for every day of the week to have some sort of reaction content. Again, during a normal week, not one of these specials like we're doing this week. If you're watching this when it first came out, of course. But we also have some Let's Play content on the channel. We are playing through Horizon Forbidden West and uploading a part of that every other day. So you will have seen one yesterday on Tuesday, but you'll also see one tomorrow on Thursday, and then another on Saturday, and then Monday, and so on and so forth. Every other day will be a new part of Horizon Forbidden West. We are also playing through Poppy Playtime on Saturdays. We're only doing Chapter 1 at the moment because it's all that's available on PS5 right now. But luckily, I'm shitty enough with puzzle solving to where it's long enough to have been cut into multiple parts. I cut it into a few parts so that we can get it posted throughout multiple weeks. So there's going to be going through that, and then we'll go back to Anno Mutationum after for that Let's Play slot. But all of that being said, thank you so much, as always, for tuning in. Let me know your thoughts on Zatoichi on the road. And for now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.